Okay, pause. Pause everything. Because the date everybody is fawning over. The date that supposedly proves Papoose and Claressa Shields finally graduated from sloppy group hangouts to a real grown folks evening. That date wasn't a date. It was an alibi. A staged, scripted, carefully timed alibi, dressed up in a movie ticket and a Snapchat soundtrack. And the more I sit with it, the more obvious it becomes that almost nobody on this app is telling you what really happened. And I'm not whispering it. I'm saying it out loud. Hey, where we spill the tea anonymously. And today the tea is hot enough to fog up the popcorn glass. So settle in, lock your front door, mute your group chat, because I'm about to walk you backwards through this whole little movie premiere stunt, frame by frame, post by post, lyric by lyric, until you see the thing that we're really trying to bury underneath all that Michael Jackson nostalgia. And before any of y'all start typing, yes, every single thing I am about to say is alleged. This is for entertainment purposes, only my very personal opinion. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. And if your feelings get hurt, baby, that's a you problem, because I did not write this story. They performed it for us in 4K. So let's get into it. Now, here's where I have to do something different than every other channel that touched this. Everybody else is starting at the movie theater. Everybody else is starting at the popcorn. Everybody else is showing you Claressa singing, remember the time, with that little struggle vocal and saying, haha, look how delusional, look how thirsty, look how cringe. And yes, all of that is true, but that's the surface. That's the wallpaper. I want to peel the wallpaper back, because if you watch this whole thing in reverse, starting from the moment Claressa hit post on that Snapchat clip and walking backwards to the timeline, the date stops looking like a date and starts looking like the world's most expensive distraction. Stay with me, because here's a question nobody on this app is asking. And once I ask it, you cannot unhear it. Why this movie on this night, with this man posted to this Snapchat, with this caption, with this song? Coincidences for civilians, baby. People at this level do not pick a Friday night biopic premiere by accident. There's a reason. And that reason is what this whole video is about. So let's rewind. Let's pretend the timeline is a VHS tape, and I'm jamming my finger on the rewind button until the little numbers on the screen blur. Before the date, before the snaps, before the trembling rendition of a Michael Jackson song that her vocal cords were not zoned for. What was happening in the streets? What was happening on the timeline? Because that is the part everybody skipped. That is the part that turns this entire stunt from a cute little outing into a full PR maneuver. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. 24 hours before that movie premiere, the comments under both their names were on fire. Not lukewarm, not low simmer. On fire. People were dragging up old footage from those so-called date nights at restaurants. The ones that looked like ambush interventions where Papoose's friends sat there with their chins in their hands, wishing they had a drink strong enough to make the night end. People were dragging up the $24 slider rant. People were dragging up the Win Records dinners that were rebranded as romantic when they were group projects. People were laughing, loud, mean, in that specific tone that only the internet can hit when it smells weakness. And then, like clockwork, like the most predictable plot twist in a Tyler Perry movie, here comes a redemption date, the two-person date. Just them, allegedly, to a movie about a man who is universally beloved, a movie about a man who, conveniently, you cannot say a single bad word about without the entire planet turning on you. You picked Michael Jackson on purpose. You picked the safest, most untouchable, most sympathy-coded subject in the entertainment universe to be the backdrop of your first real public outing. And you wanted to think that's accidental? Boy, please, stop playing my face. Because here's a strategy, and I want you to actually marinate on this. When you go on a date and you post a clip of you crying about Michael Jackson, what is the comment section forced to do? They cannot drag you, or they look like monsters. They cannot say you don't deserve a night out, or they look bitter. They cannot mock the choice of movie, or they look like they hate joy itself. The Michael Jackson biopic on opening weekend was a perfect emotional shield. It was a force field. It was a velvet rope keeping the haters out. And the second I clocked that, I knew this date was not for them. It was for us. It was content. It was a campaign. It was a press release dressed up as a popcorn run. Now listen, I want to acknowledge something before you all flood the comments yelling at me. Yes, the Michael Jackson movie is breaking records. Yes, it is shaping up to be one of the most successful music biopics ever made, with overseas openings still on a runway, with streaming numbers for the original catalog ticking back up, with a new generation finally getting introduced a man, the myth, the actual blueprint. None of that is in dispute. Michael's estate is still sitting on billions, even after they sold off pieces of that catalog he fought tooth and nail to own. He is gone. He should not be gone, and yet his presence is louder right now than half the people walking around alive. So when they tell you do not compare anybody to him, that part is real. That part one cosign. Don't do it. Don't try it. It is Michael Jackson time. Do you remember the time? And that is exactly the sentence I want you to hold on to, because it's about to come back around and slap somebody upside the head. Speaking of which, can we talk about the Snapchat? Because I was not prepared. I clicked that little story expecting maybe a soft little voiceover, maybe a cute caption, maybe a popcorn pic, maybe a movie ticket stub, maybe a regular human acknowledgement of a shared night out. What I got was a vocal performance. Unsolicited, unrehearsed, allegedly, and bless her heart. I do mean bless her heart in the way they mean it down south, where it is not a compliment, where it is a closing argument, where it is a verdict. Because the rendition we got of Do You Remember the Time was, and I want to be respectful here, struggle vocals, struggle vocals, vocals that struggle to find the key, struggle to find the rhythm, struggle to find the dignity, and once they found it, they let it go again. And I sat there asking myself, why this song? Of all the songs on the Michael Jackson catalog, why this one? Why not Rock With You? Why not Human Nature? Why not You're Not Alone? Why not Smooth Criminal? Why not literally any other selection from a man who put out an entire universe of music? Why this specific song? Why Remember the Time? And then it hit me. And once it hit me, I could not stop laughing. Because if you've been paying attention to the saga for longer than 5 minutes, you know that Remember the Time is a song about love that used to be, about a love that was real, that was vivid, that was worth memorializing, about a love that, technically on paper in a courtroom, still belongs to somebody else. And the irony of Claressa Shields, of all people, sitting in a movie theater allegedly with a married man, crooning, Do You Remember the Time We Fell in Love? Is the kind of cosmic comedy that you cannot script, you cannot fake. The universe wrote that scene, and the universe was laughing. The jokes write themselves, and they tip themselves too. But here's where I want to push the boat out a little further into the deep water. Because I have a theory, and I need y'all to tell me in the comments if I am cooking or if I am burnt. Are we sure that song is for her? Or is that song the soundtrack of a man's previous chapter that he keeps singing, allegedly, to whichever woman is in his ear? Because Papoose, allegedly, has a track record, allegedly, of regurgitating the same sentimental material across multiple women. The same compliments, the same nicknames, the same metaphors, the same little speeches, the same little playlists. And I am not the only one who has clocked it. The black love narrative he pushed in public for years, the love letters, the anniversary tributes, the dedications, the quiet little lines about being protected by your woman, that whole vibe, that whole brand. The streets are saying that brand has been recycled. The streets are saying the script is the same, and only the lead actress changes. And so when his current alleged entanglement is caught on camera, singing the same Michael Jackson song, he probably hummed to somebody else over a kitchen counter at 2 a.m. You cannot tell me that is not loaded. That song is not just a song. That song is a receipt. And the way she keeps singing it, the way she keeps repeating it, the way she keeps performing it for camera, almost begging for reaction, that to me reads like a woman who knows. A woman who knows the song was sung before. A woman who is daring the original recipient to react. A woman who is using a Michael Jackson lyric like a sniper round, aimed at a specific zip code, hoping the bullet hits the right window. That is not a coincidence. That is choreography. And the fact that nobody else seems to be talking about that part is exactly why I am talking about it. Now, let's get to the man himself. Because Papoose, in this entire little press tour, did the thing he always does. He talked. A lot. Same talking points. Same cadence. Same emphasis. He likes to drive the nail home. That man. You can almost hear him cocking back the hammer before each swing. Don't compare nobody to MJ. Don't compare nobody to MJ. Don't compare nobody to MJ. He said it once. Then he said it twice. Then he said it 3 times. Same energy as when he had that whole Black Love marathon and kept saying the word real, real, real until the word lost its meaning. He repeats himself when he is trying to convince himself, not us. That is a tell. Write that down. Underline it. Star it. When a man tells you the same thing 8 times in 2 minutes, he is not informing you. He is auditioning for his own approval. And then he hits us with the line. He says, "Oh, I didn't know Michael was so protected. I didn't know he was so surrounded by love. I want to be surrounded by nothing but love." And I had to hit pause. Sir, Sir, you are sitting next to your alleged side situation, on an alleged date, on an alleged opening night, in an alleged real two-person outing, telling the camera you want to be surrounded by love? Where's the love at home? Where's the love that built the catalog you're carrying? Where's the love that wrote the love letters you used to post every February 14th like clockwork? Where's the love that the streets used to call the gold standard? Because last I checked, the original architect of that black love brand is sitting somewhere with her phone face down, trying not to look at the timeline, while you are out here on a Friday night allegedly performing love with the understudy. And speaking of the original architect, where's she at? Because that is the elephant in the cinema, baby. Everybody is so busy clowning Claressa for her vocal performance and her, let me be diplomatic, her questionable wardrobe selection at the premiere. And yes, we'll get to the outfit. The outfit was an event. The outfit was a war crime. The outfit was a hate crime against fashion itself. But everybody is so busy with Claressa that nobody is asking the actual important question. Where's the wife? Where's the original muse? Where's the woman whose name used to be in every freestyle, every tribute, every interview, every Man of the Year speech he ever gave? You used to could not get this man to stop saying her name. Now you cannot get him to confirm her existence. And that, my friends, that silence, that absence, that vacuum, that is louder than any song Claressa Shields can struggle through on a Snapchat story. Let's talk about the outfit, because I cannot let it go. I have tried. I have prayed on it. I have lit a candle. I have asked my ancestors for forgiveness. And still, every time I close my eyes, I see that fit. Listen, fashion is supposed to be an extension of the personality, an editorial statement, a love letter to your own silhouette. What Claressa wore to that premiere was a ransom note, written in crayon, by someone who has a vendetta against the alphabet. The colors did not match. The silhouettes did not communicate. The accessories looked like they were forced into the building under threat. The whole outfit was giving I dress in the dark with one eye closed during a power outage. And I want to be very clear about something. I am not body shaming. I am not face shaming. I am not even style shaming. I am category shaming. Because that fit was in a category by itself. And that category was titled Why. Just why. One word. No question mark. Just a flat why. And to make matters worse, this is supposed to be a movie premiere. This is supposed to be a moment. This is supposed to be a campaign push for the alleged relationship. You had one job. The job was look pulled together. The job was look like the upgrade. The job was look like this is who he chose. And instead, the fit looked like she chose to lose. On purpose. As a bit. As a dare. As a cry for help. And that, ironically, is what makes me think this whole night was even more strategic than people realize. Because here's the thing about a real PR rollout. A real PR rollout has stylists. A real PR rollout has hair. A real PR rollout has makeup. A real PR rollout has a coordinated color palette. A real PR rollout looks like the cover of a magazine, even when it is supposed to look candid. A real PR rollout has a publicist on speed dial whispering, "No, baby, not those shoes, not that lip, not that lighting." So when the fit looks like a chaotic fever dream, you have to ask yourself, was the rollout sloppy because they ran out of time? Or was the rollout sloppy because there is no real team, because there is no real plan, because this whole thing is being run out of notes app on somebody's locked phone in the back of a black SUV? I lean toward the second one. And I think the sloppiness is part of why the date feels off. It feels homemade. It feels last minute. It feels like a panic move. Which brings us all the way back to the central thesis. This was not a date. This was a damage control mission disguised as a date. Now, before I forget, I want to address that line, the protected line, because Claressa said something in passing that I want to interrogate gently with the patience of a Sunday school teacher. She said Michael Jackson was so protected, and that she wants to be surrounded by that kind of love. And I had to take a long pause, because in some ways, yes, Michael was protected by his fans, by his music, by the sheer gravitational force of his talent. In other ways, my goodness, that man was not protected. That man was used. That man was traumatized. That man was poked and prodded and dragged through every tabloid imaginable. That man was set upon by lawsuits and leeches and lies. The protection she is romanticizing, the protection she is dreaming about, is a protection Michael Jackson did not actually receive in his lifetime. And the fact that she could sit there on a date and confidently call him protected tells me something. It tells me she is writing her own narrative onto him. It tells me she's projecting the love she wishes she had, the safety she wishes she had, the inner circle she wishes she had, onto a man whose actual story was the opposite. And that, to me, is the most revealing line of the whole night, because that one sentence accidentally explained why she is doing all of this. The singing, the snapping, the showing, the screaming, the spectacle. She is auditioning for protection from a man who, allegedly, is not in a position to give her any. Phew, Lord, pour another cup, because we're not done. Let me bring up another wrinkle that everybody else is sleeping on. The location. Movies. They went to the movies. And the movies, I will say it, the movies are a brilliant choice if your goal is to look like a couple without having to act like one. Think about it. You sit in the dark. You do not have to talk. You do not have to maintain eye contact. You do not have to navigate the small talk that exposes whether you actually like each other. You do not have to perform chemistry. You just face forward, you eat your popcorn, and you let the movie do all the heavy emotional lifting. So when she says she cried, when she says she could not even describe it, when she says it was that good, of course it was that good. Baby, you did not have to do anything. You sat there. The movie dated him. You just bought the ticket. And that is the other piece of this puzzle that the other channels missed. A real date is a conversation. A real date is a vulnerability. A real date is a meal across a table where you have to look at someone and decide whether you actually like the way they chew. A movie is not that. A movie is parallel play. A movie is what you do with a person you cannot quite figure out how to be alone with yet. A movie is a placeholder for connection. So while everyone is celebrating that Papoose and Claressa finally went out alone, the format of the date itself is a confession. They pick the activity that requires the least amount of intimacy, and then they post about it like it was a wedding. Y'all, I need water. Now let's connect the dots even harder, because this is where the unique angle really sharpens. Look at the pattern of every public moment Claressa has had with this man. Every single one of them has been around a crowd, around a camera, around a brand. The Wynn Records dinner, the Zeus Network birthday, the restaurant ambush, the Slider tantrum, the premiere. They have not had a single public moment that was not also a marketing moment. And that is by design, because at every point in this saga, the goal has not actually been intimacy. The goal has been visibility. The goal has been to remind a specific audience that she exists, that she is around him, that she is in a picture, that she cannot be erased. Why? Because the threat of erasure is the only thing more powerful than the threat of exposure in a story like this. If the streets stop talking about you, you cease to exist in the narrative. So you keep posting, you keep singing, you keep showing up in the wardrobe equivalent of a tornado warning. You keep handing out content like flyers at a bus stop. Anything to stay relevant, anything to stay tagged, anything to stay in the algorithm, because the algorithm is the only place this relationship actually lives. Outside the algorithm, the relationship is allegedly held together by nothing more than a thread, a contract, and a series of mutually convenient coincidences. That is the part nobody is saying out loud. So I will. This relationship, allegedly, is not a relationship. It is a content strategy. It is a calendar of appearances. It is a series of moments meant to keep two careers afloat in choppy water. That is why the dates look choreographed. That is why the outfits look thrown together. That is why the songs look handpicked. That is why the captions look like they were drafted by committee and approved by a publicist who does not actually believe in the project. The whole thing is a pop-up shop dressed up as a love story, and the lease is month to month. And now, the question that has been burning in the back of my mind the entire time. The question I cannot let go. The question I will keep asking until somebody gives me an answer. Papoose, my brother, my king, my alleged king. When was the last time you saw the golden child? When was the last time you saw your firstborn? When was the last time you carved out a Friday night? Not for a movie premiere, not for a press moment, not for a Snapchat story, but for the child whose existence used to be the cornerstone of the brand you built. Because allegedly that calendar is empty. Allegedly that phone is silent. Allegedly that bond, the bond that used to be plastered across every interview, every album cover, every magazine spread, has gone dark. And while I am happy you got to cry over a Michael Jackson movie, while I am happy you got to be surrounded by love, while I am happy you got to graduate from the group project to the two-person mission, none of that means anything if the babies in your own house are wondering when you are coming back. So I will ask one more time. When was the last time you saw the golden child? Drop the date. I will wait. The whole comment section will wait. And here is where I want to circle back to where we started. Because if you really run this whole night backwards, the moment that breaks the entire alibi is not the singing, is not the outfit, is not the location. is not even a Michael Jackson irony stacking on top of each other like a Jenga tower. The moment that breaks the alibi is the timing. Because right before this date, the streets were getting too loud. The streets were asking the question I just asked. The streets were looking at his absence. The streets were measuring the silence on the home front. The streets were doing the math. And the math was not math-tang. So suddenly, like clockwork, like the cavalry, here comes a date. Here comes a movie. Here comes a song. Here comes a snap. Here comes a tear. Here comes a quote about love. Here comes a moment that was specifically designed to overwrite every conversation people were having about him being missing in action. They did not have a date. They had a content drop. And the content was the alibi. You are watching a magic trick. My friends, the classic magician's misdirection. Look at this hand. The hand singing Michael Jackson. The hand crying in the theater. The hand dressed in a chaotic outfit. The hand holding the popcorn. Look at this hand. Look at this hand. Look at this hand. While the other hand quietly slips the actual story under the table and out the back door. The actual story is not the date. The actual story is what the date is covering up. And the cover-up, allegedly, is family. The cover-up is fatherhood. The cover-up is the very same black love brand that built in the first place, now reduced to a Snapchat clip of a struggle vocal in a dark room. And I want to be clear with y'all. I am not trying to be cruel. I am not trying to be petty for petty's sake. I am trying to give you the analysis nobody else is giving you, because everybody else is busy making fun of the song and the fit and the eyebrows and the shoes. And yes, those are easy targets, but they are also the decoys. The decoys are loud. The decoys are colorful. The decoys are designed to take the heat. While the decoys are taking the heat, the actual scandal is sitting in the corner sipping a tea, watching us all be distracted, knowing that as long as we're arguing about the outfit, we are not asking about the absence. So no, this is not a date. This is a press release. This is a soft launch of a hard rebrand. This is a controlled burn. This is a man who used to sell himself as a one-woman fortress, now allegedly leasing a bedroom in someone else's storyline. This is a woman who has spent every public moment trying to be claimed, and the closest she's gotten to being claimed is a movie ticket, and a song that, by the way, is technically about somebody else's love story. Read that again. The song they made the centerpiece of their first real public outing was a song about a love they no longer have. Not the love they are supposedly building. A love they used to have. A love that lives in the past tense. Do you remember the time? Past tense. Do you remember? Not, look at the time we are creating now. Not, watch us write a new chapter. No, remember, as in, that was then. As in, the love this song belongs to is somewhere else, with somebody else. And we are just borrowing the soundtrack for a night. Phew. I need y'all to understand something. The level of disrespect, the level of audacity, the level of tone deafness it takes to make a song about an old love the soundtrack of a new alleged love on a public date, on a weekend opening, in a Snapchat story, is unmatched. Either this is the most accidental musical choice in the history of accidental musical choices, or somebody, somewhere in that theater, was making a point. And I lean toward somebody was making a point. I lean toward this was a message. I lean toward this was a flare gun fired into the night sky directed at one specific household, to remind that household that the ghost of black love past is still circling the building. Now, I want to bring up one more thing before I let y'all go, because this part is going to ruffle feathers, and that is fine. Ruffle them, scramble them, make an omelet. I think the next chapter of the saga is going to look very different than what people are expecting. I think this date is the peak. I think this is the high water mark. I think the wave has crested, and it is on the way back down. Because once you go to the movies as the announcement of your alleged relationship, you have nothing left to escalate. The movie is the most pedestrian, high-profile date you can do. There is nowhere up to go from there. So unless they pull out an engagement, a vacation, a joint music project, or a baby announcement, the next move is downhill. The next move isn't being seen separately. The next move is a slow fade. The next move is a quiet unfollow. The next move is somebody telling on somebody to a podcast. The next move is a new mistress, allegedly, that allegedly is allegedly already in the wings, allegedly. And once that footage drops, this Michael Jackson night is going to look, in hindsight, like the last romantic moment in a movie before the credits roll and the audience finds out the whole thing was a heist. Mark my words. I am not predicting. I am observing. There is a difference. A prediction is a guess. An observation is a pattern. And the pattern here is older than the both of them. The pattern is, men in this position do not stop the cycle. They feed the cycle. They graduate from one entanglement to the next. They graduate the side situation into a place sitting at the table, and then they go shopping for a new side situation to fill the seat that just got vacated. And the woman who thought she was the upgrade finds out she was just a placeholder. Allegedly, always allegedly. I do not write the script, I just read the marquee. So tell me, hype the video. Please smash that like button until it cracks. Smash that subscribe button until it begs for mercy. Smash that bell until your neighbors complain, because we're doing the Lord's work over here in this little corner of the internet, telling you what nobody else is willing to tell you, with the receipts, with the timeline, with the unique angle, and drop a comment. Tell me, am I cooking or am I burnt? Do you see what I see? Do you see the alibi? Do you see the misdirection? Do you see the song as a sniper round? Do you see the wardrobe as a panic flag? Do you see the missing parent on the missing playdate? Or do you think it really was just a sweet little Friday night out for two grown people who like Michael Jackson? Tell me, because I want to read every comment. I want to clock every theory. I want to argue with the bots. I want to high-five the realists. I want to debate the romantics. I want to hold court in this comment section like a small claims judge. And if you are new here, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Anonymous T. This is what we do tea, anonymously, with a sense of humor, with a sense of receipts, with a sense of timing, with a sense of Friday evening shenanigans. And we do it with love and good vibes, and we send blessings and good energy and positivity to every single one of you tuning in, even the ones who came here just to disagree, especially the ones who came here just to disagree, because your comments help the algorithm too. Thank you for being part of this little tea party. Thank you for letting me cook. And before I sign off, one more reminder, because I want on the record, none of this is gospel. None of this is a court filing. None of this is a sworn affidavit. This is a vibes-based forensic breakdown of a publicly available night out with publicly posted content, conducted under the fair use doctrine of the Copyright Act of 1976, which is in the description box, where it has always been, where it will always be, and which I am required to remind you about because the internet is real, and so are the takedown notices. So please, by all means, take this entire video as one woman's opinion. Run with it, twist it, share it, screenshot it, but do not screenshot it without context, because that's how rumors start, and we already have enough rumors in this story. Also, do not forget, there's a real human being in the middle of this that nobody is talking about. There's a real wife. There is real children. There is real history. There's a real career that was built on a story that is now being rewritten in real time, in front of all of us on Snapchat, with a Michael Jackson cover song as a soundtrack. And while we are out here laughing and clocking and analyzing and predicting, those real human beings are sitting in real houses dealing with the real fallout. Send them a little prayer. Send them a little light. Because the price of being part of a brand built on love is that when the love is in question, you get to watch your name be dragged through every comment section on the internet by strangers. So send them peace. Send them clarity. Send them protection, real protection. The kind Michael Jackson did not get, and the kind Claressa is romanticizing without understanding the full cost of. And on that note, that is it. That is all. That is total Isido. That is the end of the road. That is the end of the line. That is the credits rolling. That is the screen going black. That is the lights coming up in the theater. And you are walking out into the parking lot, blinking at the streetlights, with a head full of theories and a phone full of notifications. Drop those theories below. Tell me which dot I missed. Tell me which beat I overplayed. Tell me which prediction is going to age the best. Tell me which prediction is going to age like buttermilk. I want to know. I want to read. I want to argue. I want to hold court. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Share with your group chat. Tag your messy Annies. Send it to your friend who still believes in fairy tales. Send it to your friend who knew this was an alibi from the second they saw the snap. And let us crowdsource the truth together. Because the truth is rarely in one head. The truth is usually scattered across 1,000 comment threads. And the only way to find it is to gather. So gather. Pull up, pour up, pop the kettle on, steep the leaves, and meet me back here tomorrow, because I have a feeling, a strong feeling, a tingling at the back of my neck kind of feeling, that this story is far from over, and the next chapter is going to require all hands on deck. Until then, take care of yourself, drink your water, mind your business, post your alibis, and never, ever pick a Michael Jackson song to soundtrack a relationship that has not earned a Michael Jackson song. That is a sin. That is a crime. That is a charge, and I rest my case. I love you. I mean it. I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye for now.